gonna fix the error with this page here. So the error is because we have the verified.views. If we just delete this file, because we cannot have a verified.view file if you also have the directory. So if we go in here, and let's say we want to first start out with the script for now, because that's really all we need here. But we also want to, we could put in a loading indicator if you want to, but what we basically just want to do is have mounted, and then here we want to have an async function called this dot verify, and inside methods, let's add it here. Let's call this verify, and we want to call this async as well. And then we want to basically go in here and create our code at the backend. So we can maybe just do like this. But what we want to do inside our backend is we want to go in here inside our controller, inside we can say user controller. Let's go in here and actually make sure we verify it. So obviously this is not good enough. We want to make sure that the token is good. So we want to put this inside and validate a bit here. So first of all, because we're doing this as a post function, let's go and say request, and let's say validate. And in here we want to validate 2 parameters. So we want to have ID required, then we want to have token required, and then we want to go in and basically create a user variable here, and we want to change this to something different. So let's go in this user variable saying user. We want to take in the app model, so remember to put it up on the top here. And we want to say where. We want to say where email verification code is equal to request token. So if this is the case, we now have this user variable here. So we want to go in and test that. So we want to say if user and now we're basically verifying that this code that we pass through the URL will be true. So this is the way we're going to do it. So what we also want to make sure is that we want to make sure that obviously you can put, the thing is right now you can think about, do you want your user to only do this if they're signed in, or do you want to do this if the user is not signed in, because this is only going to work if you sign the user in. But because we are basically taking in this URL from the email and we're updating it here, we can actually do something where we actually sign the user in. So we can actually go in and say code our facade login using ID, and what we want to do here is we want to log the user in. We could do that, but we can also just call it here. It's like, that's 2 things. I want to make this simple because I don't want to put too much into the email authentication. So what we want to do here is we basically just want to go in here and say we actually want to get rid of all of this here. So let's gonna say we want to go in here and we want to check as well in this variable here all. So we want to go in here, or we can actually make another variable. So we're going to say user ID is going to be equal to request ID. So that means that even if you put the wrong ID in the end, this will not go through. So if this is the case, this will succeed. So the reason why I'm creating 2 variables here is just for checking in if this is going to be which error we're gonna get if we're gonna have any error. So we want to go in here and say response JSON, and we want to pass in errors, and in here we want to have the root error as, and this is obviously not what you want to put. You might just put cannot verify email. The user ID is wrong, but usually you would just put something in like cannot verify email address. But we just want to put this in here just to basically test it, whatever is wrong, like if there's gonna be anything wrong. So we want to just make sure we get our errors straight here. So if we go in and basically copy and paste this here, we can actually just go in here and see what the error is. So in here, let's go in and call this function here and just say with the token instead. And then we want to go in here and call this user variable, and we want to say we want to go into the database here, into the right one. So we just close this one here and gonna go in here, and then we want to copy and paste these two variables. So we want to have this one, just to make sure there's no typos. We want to just have this as now, and then we want to have user, and then we want to very importantly call user save to ensure this will actually be saved. So this will actually go in and make sure that this is all being done. So this is all we need to do. We just need to pass these two parameters in and create the route in the routes here. So inside routes, let's go and create a post, just called verify, and just call in the function verify inside here. And what we just want to do in here instead is now we want to go inside. First of all, we want to go in and copy our register here. We don't really want to display the errors. We mainly just have the errors for debugging, but we want to go in and pass these two here inside our verify. And then we just want to have token as token and ID as ID. And we want to call verify. And then also up here at the top, we can go in and just add in like a loading indicator. Like if we go in the browser here and basically just go inside, let's say Ant DB, and go in and check out the loading indicator one here, because we can actually go in and maybe make it look a little bit nicer. So spin, sorry, yeah, in here the spinner. So if we go in and grab the spinner here, we can just go in here and make it at least indicate that it's loading. So the point is to basically redirect you away from this page. So first of all, we want to go in and just test that this is working. So if we now go in and refresh, and we need to call this at verify, because I renamed this to verify, but there's nothing more than that. So, and if we now go in and check what the error is, if we just refresh, so this says that the property because we don't pass it through, so we need to put in dash. The thing we do here is basically we pass through in our verify here is that we create a token and we create an ID. So anything before the dash is gonna be the token, and anything after the dash is gonna be the ID of the user. So if we now go in here, we need to make sure that this user here is gonna be the same. So we can instead go in here maybe and say verify ID, and that's gonna be equal to user find like this. Sorry, request ID. And then we can just go in here and call verify ID and request token is gonna be equal to verify ID email verification code. Okay, so we need to maybe, actually we can redo this logic here, so we can go in instead and say, because this says the user ID is wrong here, like we have put in 9, so if we, because we are obviously checking that the token is equal here, so the issue is actually not the user ID here, but the token. So if we go in and pass through verify ID here, and then we instead go in and do and then we can also put this in here. So basically we're just cleaning up the code now. Again, this is more for debugging, so if we do like this and then call this user, I know it looks a bit messy right now, but we will make this a bit cleaner code. So if we go in and remove this here, and also let's go in and make sure that we just have enough here, so perfect, like this. So this is actually gonna go in and say find the user by the request ID, and then check if the verification code is the same as token. If that's true, it's gonna update. So if we now go in, verify will return nothing. But if we now go instead and say else, return response, and for now let's just put in random thing and see what happens. Perfect. So this means that we we're still getting an error because we don't have to write code, but we have to write email address. But if we now go in and grab the token, and we go in here, refresh, you can see the token has changed, and we are also now being verified. So what we want to do is we want to remove this here, and we want to test this through on the front end now. So what we can do is we can just put in like, and then just see what we get out. So let's console.log. Copy the token. And everything we get in here is just success. So we want to say response dot data. Dot data dot success, and then we want to just leave the console.log for now, and then just gonna go in here and check if this is true. If this is true, we want to go in and say this.router, and we want to go back. Obviously, because we have refreshed this a lot of time on the verify email page, this will not refresh you to the thing, then it might not be a bit messy because it's going to refresh you back to the verify page. But if we look aside from that, it will work. If you just go into the email first time, it will put in the intended, which is stored in a cookie. As you can see, this will just mess up here. So what we can also do for now, just to make sure this works, we can say replace, and then just put name and put this as index. And then obviously on our home page, if we just go in here and actually create it, and as you can see now, we have verified our user and we have updated token. You can also just put it to null, but this is everything from verifying the user email. The only thing we should remember is that you can make the user sign in, but it's a bit more complicated inside Nux because we're using Laravel Sanctum. So I am leaving this away for now, but most of the times people will verify from the same browser, and therefore the user will already be logged in. But now, of course, you can play a bit around with this. You could even go in and put in like middleware and only allow the user to verify if they log it in. But that's all up to you. So that would be everything from this video. I will see you in the next one.